A lot of people ask me, Andrew, how do you handle health insurance as a nomad capitalist? I'm going to lay out my entire plan in this video. Hey, I'm Andrew Henderson, and in this video, I'm going to give you my comprehensive plan for maintaining health insurance around the world. I'm not going to promote any particular companies, but I'm going to tell you how I've set up my own insurance plans, because whether it's people who are, those of you online who are commenting and asking for my advice, whether it's people that we're working with one-on-one who want to make sure they're covered, even my father, says, Andrew, I think a lot of those of us who are older really value health insurance. We want to know how we can get good quality of care. And so the first thing that I think is really important to understand when you're leaving your home country to become a nomad capitalist is, number one, especially if that country is the United States, understanding the realities of costs of care. The United States in particular is dreadfully expensive in terms of care. And I think one of the reasons why you would become a nomad capitalist in the first place, or at least follow some of our tenets, is because you want to pay less for care. I actually, in my book, I actually devoted entire chapter 6 to nomad healthcare and the idea of go where you're treated best for getting care. You don't have to want tax benefits. You don't want to have a second passport. You don't want to have to bank overseas. You could just follow chapter 6 and you can just go and get healthcare overseas. And so while people fundamentally understand that care outside of their own country is cheaper and can be just as good, if not better quality, it's a hard thing for them to wrap their head around when it comes to insurance and what the need for that insurance is. You're not going to go to the emergency room in Malaysia and get a bill for $100,000. It's just not going to happen. Meanwhile, in the United States in particular, people routinely go for pretty benign stuff and get huge bills. I mean, I know I had to go to the emergency room once or twice. Again, nothing was really totally wrong. It was kind of preventative in my case. I was a little bit freaked out, kind of a hypochondriac at a younger age, and I would get a bill for $2,000 just for seeing the doctor. Now I go and I'll go to one of the best hospitals in Malaysia, for example, when I've had to go to the emergency room, and it might be $100 or $200, and I see a doctor. Oftentimes the doctor was educated in the UK, and I feel the care is just as good. I leave feeling good. I leave with my problem solved. So that's one thing that you have to understand. If you're coming from a place where insurance protects you from catastrophic financial loss, understand there's a difference in costs. Here's what I've set up. Number one, I maintain relatively comprehensive coverage in my main hub countries. For me right now, that's Malaysia. That would be the main one. I also have coverage in Georgia. And if I set up a base in the future in Latin America, I would probably get comprehensive coverage there. Now, I put a high deductible on that. To bring the cost down, because I'm looking for the best risk transfer. One thing as a business owner, we talk to 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs, I don't want to be chasing down the insurance company to get 32 ringgit refunded, right? So if it's $5,000, I think my deductible is maybe $3,000 or $5,000. I don't even know, but it's around there. I'll just pay that out of pocket, right? What I'm really trying to protect is if something terrible happens, covering me to where I don't have to pay $100,000, all right, or more. And so comprehensive coverage provides me that. What I layer on top of that is a catastrophic policy that covers me all around the world, ex-US. So obviously the United States, any kind of travel insurance is going to be a lot more expensive if you're going to be needing care in the US, because, as we mentioned, so much more expensive. I don't go to the US, I don't spend time there. And so, not an issue for me. I pay a much lower rate for travel insurance that covers me anywhere. And there are a few companies that you can basically tell them, hey, here are the places where I spend the most time, and they'll cover you everywhere else. So I put those two together. And so here's my philosophy on why exactly I do that. Catastrophic coverage covers me if I get hit by a bus or if something happens that needs immediate attention. So a medical evacuation situation, something like that is covered by the kind of catastrophic coverage that I would get. So if I'm spending 2 weeks in Colombia, I'm not going to be left out in the cold. The comprehensive coverage covers me, and I make sure to address this every time I get a policy. My policy in Malaysia, for example, very good. I can always return to Malaysia and get that coverage because I'm covered all year round, right? If I get diagnosed with cancer when I'm in Colombia, I can go back to Malaysia and get treated for that. I'm a resident of Malaysia. I have coverage there. And so that's not necessarily an urgent thing. Obviously, it's a very important thing. I don't want to let it wait, but it's a matter, I can wait a couple days to get on a plane, get back, and get the health care. And so, my general philosophy is if it's not catastrophic, I want to seek out the best care. This goes along with my entire nomad capitalist philosophy of go where you're treated best. Most people, they live in one city. They go to the hospital in that city, and they seek out the best hospital. Nobody's seeking out the worst care, but most people don't consider, I wonder if there's a guy in Singapore who is a better specialist for this. Or I wonder if there's somebody in Panama that is like the expert in the world in this super niche, super rare medical issue that I have, right? Most people just keep it in their local area. And I think that the power of the nomad capitalist approach is saying, I'm always going to go where I'm going to get the best care. I think Malaysia has pretty good care, and so to maintain a comprehensive policy there not only protects me because I do spend a significant amount of time in the country, it protects me that if I ever want good care that doesn't have to be done right this very minute, I can get on a plane and I can go there and I can get care and I can know that I'm getting some of the best care in the world. But what I also think is important is, again, understanding the financial attributes of it. I'm looking for good risk transfers when it comes to insurance. Okay? If I can pay, I think I pay $400 a year to put the risk of a potentially $100,000 incident on someone else, I'm all for that. It also happens to be a condition of my residency. I need to have a policy, so it wouldn't matter anyway, but I wanted to make sure I got the best policy. That said, if you are the 7- and 8-figure entrepreneur, understand that I don't know of too many things that could happen to you in a country like Malaysia or even a Singapore that would creep up beyond the low 6 figures. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't know every condition that's out there. Obviously, there are chronic conditions that you're always dealing with. But from my perspective, when I started asking questions, what does it cost to treat the average cancer? Malaysia, I don't think there was a single cancer where the average cost was over $75,000. And so to a certain extent, self-insurance, I think, is not a bad thing to do. But I do that in tandem with making reasonable risk transfers. And so comprehensive plus catastrophic, doing that in a few different places around the world where I do spend time, as well as having that travel layer on top of it for any other places that you might go, is what I do. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.